Okay, hello everybody. Today I have the honor of being joined by, and correct me if I say your name wrong, Eran Katz.
Yeah,
Did I say
exactly.
it close? Oh,
Perfect.
perfect! I nailed it. We can stop recording now. Uh, but this is a special episode because we'll be doing a little bit of coaching and trying to help Eran move through some things that are blocking him and move to what he wants to create. And so I'll read a little bit of a bio so you know who we're talking to here. Eran is a clinical psychologist, father of two, and a husband in no particular order. Work in a private practice in Tel Aviv, Israel. Dream of helping parents move from being confused and stressed out into a more confident and leading role in their families. That's so beautiful. This is why I created the Parenting Map, MAP, and the Apparently Parent podcast. My goal in life is to help as many parents as possible move from chaos to harmony and build an enduring, meaningful relationship with their children. Awesome. Well, welcome, Eran.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Um, how are you doing today, by the way?
Pretty good. So it's we have this time difference, right? I'm guessing it's early
Mm-hmm.
morning for you. It's evening.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just after dinner, and so I have young children, 10 and 6 years old. So it's like the one of the peaks of energy in the day, dinner, showers, and all that. So like it's like right in between in between that. But all in all,
Oh,
it was a
interesting.
pretty nice day today.
Oh, that's so cool. And what's a normal day for you look like? Just out of curiosity, like, are you doing your clinical like work, most of the day, and then like get some time with the family at the end of it, or
Um,
tell me a little bit more.
yeah. So in addition, so I have my main job. My day job is my private practice, which
Mm-hmm.
I go out to. I don't work from home. I have my office, and I go there 3 to 3.5 days per week. And
Okay.
what one thing that I really like about this kind of work is that I can choose my own hours as long as I have
Mm.
clients coming in those hours. So I prefer to work in the mornings and noon time. So I have
Mm.
afternoons at home with my family, and I also have a
Mm.
couple of days off of the office because I'm still writing my PhD dissertation, which I'm working on.
Cool.
So it really depends on which day you're asking me, because like
Okay.
today it's a Thursday. I don't have any clients today. So I had swimming lesson this morning, which was awesome. And then I was home working on
Mm.
my paper, and then kids came home. So that was a much more relaxed day.
Really cool. Okay, thanks for sharing. Um, and so you are can you tell us a little bit about what you're creating that's outside of the day job? So I heard that there's the PhD, but also this parenting map and the podcast. Can you tell me a bit about that?
Yeah. So, um, I've been practicing as a psychologist for, I guess it's about 15 years. And
Mm.
I started as a child psychologist. That's what I learned, clinical child psychology. And with time, I realized
Mhm.
I work better with their parents, or just with
Mm.
adults, not on issues related to children. And so now I'm working mainly with adults. And as I
Mm.
after I became a father, and my eldest was a boy, he moved from being just this baby to a toddler, which was more challenging communication
Mm.
wise. I started to be more interested in stuff regarding parenting. I had to figure out how to be the kind of parent that I wanted to, and I had some kind of knowledge. And then I read more books and started to talk about it with colleagues and clients. And the thing that
Mm.
started to bud within me is this wish to really own in this issue of parenting, and how can I use my knowledge, experience, and skills to help more parents. And then COVID came,
Mm.
and we were
Mm.
home, and they were really young, so we were stuck at home for a couple of months at the beginning, and it was not
You said
easy.
your kids are 10 and 6, is that
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. So
Okay,
like
got it.
I have a boy and a daughter. So she was like 2 years old. He was in first grade when it started, and it was very challenging because it's a challenging time and challenging age. And I started thinking about creating some kind of resource for parents around the ideas that I was learning and trying to implement within myself as well. And it started as an idea for like this kind of blog. Then I thought about a podcast, and I wanted to create more like workshops or and courses online, which I figured I could do something. I could reach out to more people like that, and I could really help my family while helping others financially and like elevating my business to a different kind of work, which really resonated with me. So that's the global thing, the global project.
Yeah. How much of that have you created already? Or you've been doing a blog or a podcast, or what's been done already?
It started as a blog, and then I don't remember when I started this podcast. It's called the Apparently Parent podcast. It was the Apparently Parent blog. Yeah, so it was the Apparently Parent podcast, which ran for 60 something episodes. And then I figured out that I have to take a break because I was really busy with my PhD work. And one thing had to come in front of the other. So I made this decision. I thought I'm going to take a break for a year from podcasting to really focus on my PhD work. 1 year became 2, so for now, in my mind, the podcast is on a really long break, and I want to go, I want to go back to it. And while also creating the first course that I want to offer. And you mentioned the parenting map, so that's like the framework that I conceived in my mind of how I want to help parents. That's the name of it, and that's like the gist of how I want to work with people.
Okay, I'd love to hear a little bit more about that. You might know already that I have 6 kids.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, it's a mixed family, so we have 2 each from previous relationships, and then we came together and had 2 more, and so it's 3 boys, 3 girls, blended family. But our youngest one just turned 18, so we have all adults. They're not actually kids anymore. And for a long time, I've been making a joke that as a parent, my main job is get them to adulthood, 18, alive. And if I did that, then I succeeded. And I have 100% success rate, all of them alive at 18. And that's a joke because obviously, as you know, there's a lot more to it. It's not just making them survive. So what is there that you would like parents to know that's beyond like just the survival, like get them alive to 18? Is there anything in the parenting map that you'd like to that's really important for you to share? And obviously you've talked for hours on a podcast, so we don't have that long. So just what would be like the gist of like what you think should be communicated to parents?
That's a really good question. And I think so, like, I don't know if you have any friends who are psychologists or social workers like me, but if you ask anyone who's working with children and their parents, you'll get that experience of they will tell you about the parents who are walking into their office telling the psychologist, do your thing, fix the little guy, or tell me what to do and what to say. Give me the tools. Give me the formulas. And we don't have those. Like, it doesn't work like that. And I can fix the child for you because I may see your child for 1 hour a week. You're there all the time. So it boils down to, this is your job to work on yourself. And the parenting map it's an acronym, but it's one of the main parts of the work is actually the parents working on understanding themselves, how their minds work, what makes them tick, what makes them maybe untick, getting dysregulated, and developing the skills to to be more regulated on a day-to-day basis, so that they can be there for the children when they are dysregulated. That's like the main thing. Like you probably had that experience many times. So your kid is going through something and you need to be there for them. You have to find that power within yourself to be there in the way that they need. And you have 6 ones. So you know how different everyone can be. So
it's true.
That's a delicate job of knowing yourself and knowing your children and attuning to them. I think that's why I believe important. And that's why I believe that working with parents, that's the way to go. And it's not working with the children themselves.
I absolutely love that you're sharing this, and obviously it's a deep topic that you could go into for a long time. And I'd love to share. We'll share links to whatever resources that you have that you've created or that you think others. But I just wanted to say I love that you're focusing on that. And I, as a father, I know the importance of this, because when my kids are dysregulated, when they've got their shit coming up, it often will trigger mine.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, they're doing something, and it triggers my own stuff. And the parenting moments that I'm least proud of are the moments when I was not able to deal with my own emotions in response to theirs.
Yeah.
And I've gotten a lot better at that. This is a lot of the work that I've done for myself. I'm not perfect, but I definitely have done a lot better. And the more that I can do that for myself, as you said, the more we can be there for them in the way that they need. And as you know, like, we're modeling something for them of how to regulate ourselves.
Yeah.
And that's, I think it's taught. It's not taught. In fact, the opposite is taught, I think, a lot, and at least in the society that I'm in. And so I think it's so needed what you're doing. And I just wanted to say thank you for that.
Thanks.
Okay, so we want to get into the difficulty that you're having around this. But because I think it's such an important topic, I have to ask, if someone wanted to get started on this, is there any resources that you have or that you might point others to, just to get started on this topic?
So there is my podcast. There are a couple of episodes that talk about the role of the parent and what the parenting map is, at the beginning at least, where I talk about it in a little bit more length. People can always reach out to me. There are lots of books out there about parenting that I wish I have.
Any favorites that you recommend to parents?
So everything written by Dan Siegel is a favorite of mine, and he wrote a lot of books about the mind at large, but he has I think 3 or 4 parenting books he wrote with Dr. Tina Payne Bryson, like No Drama Discipline and The Whole Brain Child. That's like, if I would have to create a kit of presents to like new parents, I would give them those two books. The Whole Brain Child and No Drama Discipline. Those are like fundamentals, I think.
Okay. I can already hear every parent listening to this clicking on, going to Amazon and ordering those right now. I will be as well. So thank you for that. And we'll link to Apparently Parent as well, where your blog and podcasts are. So I think this is so important. So I can see why you want to create not only what you've already created, but this course that you have in mind. Tell me about how that's going, like creating the course so far.
It's not really going. It's going. Okay, so it goes a lot in my mind, and as I said, I had an idea around COVID, and I started trying to understand this online space of content and course creation, which I was clueless about. So, and I went into this phase of trying to learn everything I can learn, both about like starting a business online and creating courses and getting traffic, while also starting to feel like I don't know shit about parenting all of a sudden, and I need to read all the books, etc. So I'm in like,
I
I
see.
went into this constant like buying these courses about courses, etc., and getting those books about this parenting technique and the other one. And I think I really got better at reading parenting books. and and but like, okay, so fast forward to today. I think that something that happened in recent months, and in, I don't know, maybe it's because of the circumstances we're in. You mentioned I live in Israel, so we've been in a war state for 6 months. Luckily, I live
Right.
in the center of Israel, so now it's more quiet where I am. But at the beginning, it was really, we had to disconnect from whatever was going on to mentally survive. And I went into
Mm.
this place where I told myself, this is something that I really need to focus on. And I started to take the ideas that I had spread everywhere in my notes about the parenting map and to consolidate them to this one file. And I'm kind of a visual thinker, so it was visually laid out
Mm.
in this um, kind of canvas, and things started to make more sense to me. And
Hmm.
that made me feel, okay, now all these ideas that was all over the place for me are starting to take shape and form, and I feel like I can start to offer them outside to tell more people
Okay.
about them and create something that people can use. So this is where I am.
That's really good work. I mean, it sounds like, first of all, like being in a war area. Like I've never been myself, but I can only imagine, even if you're maybe physically safe, just like hearing noises. I have a friend who I think lives near somewhere near you, and he was talking about just like daily you could see like rockets, like, and it was just, scary.
Yeah.
And so even if you know you're safe, like your body responds in a certain way.
Yeah.
And you actually, I imagine that highlights even more how important the emotional regulation is. When you're in a state like that, there's going to be a lot of parents who are going through, and kids who are going through a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But so it sounds like that was really disruptive for you, but something in that like had you decide to focus more and really like get into the let me try and figure this out and put it together mode. Is that true? Is
Yeah.
that what I'm hearing?
Yeah. And I had more time on my hands because the
Mm.
children were out of school for some time, and we couldn't go out
Right.
to see clients. So and I don't know. It's kind of paradoxical to think that in that time I got clearer on my goals somehow, but
Wow.
it's like the jigsaw pieces came together suddenly for me. And also I think maybe some kind of motivation about I have to do this. I'm sitting on this idea for so long, and if I'm able to create this, it will be good for the people who will go through it, like my audience, my clients, whatever I should
Mm.
call it, and also for my family. And this is something that I don't know. Maybe the sudden, like, how like for us and everybody here in this region, everything changed suddenly on a Saturday morning, like on
Mm.
October 7th. So, it's not the first time something like that happened when where we live, but not on that
Right.
scale. And so maybe I'm thinking about it. Maybe the um, how surprising that is, and like how everything changes
Mm.
from white to black all of a sudden, made me think, without actually thinking about it, that I have to do something about it, because you just can't wait for things to be fine, you know.
Yeah.
Uh, so maybe that's
I've
what happened. I don't know.
Yeah, I can understand that. Sometimes people are faced with their mortality or the briefness of life,
Yeah.
and it can be incredibly disruptive, but it can also be incredibly like motivating or focusing. It's like, oh, I don't know how much time I have here, and I need to get this out. This is something that is can't wait. I don't know. what I'm waiting for here. Um, the other thing I wanted to highlight that you said a little bit earlier was um, you got into learn everything about online business mode, and then also maybe I don't know shit about parenting, and let me read every book. And I got really good at reading parenting books, and that's funny, but it's a really common thing. So I really invite anyone who is listening or watching to this podcast to check in with yourself. Like, are you um, feeling some shakiness about, it could be online businesses or online platforms or technology. There's all of that. And then also just like your ability, your credibility, your authority, your expertise in being able to bring something forward. And those are normal, fears or shakiness, uncertainty. But the way that we often will respond is buy a bunch of books, get a bunch of courses, look for the answers outside of ourselves. And that can be an eternal mode. It's just always be learning more and more because you're never going to learn enough from books and courses to feel confident. That shakiness will never go away. It doesn't matter how much you consume. And I remember just to close this piece here. I remember talking with someone who wanted help. Um, what was it? I think it was writing. He wanted to write a book, and I said, "Oh, how's that been going for you?" And he says, "Oh, I've been taking courses and reading books." And he's like, "I've taken 20 courses on how to be a writer." And I'm like, "Oh, that's interesting. How many more do you think you'll need
Yeah.
before you feel like really confident in that?" And the answer is never. Like you'll never be able to take enough courses to feel confident in putting your writing out there.
No.
So I love that you shared that, and I think it's really good for people to check in. Like, am I procrastinating on actually creating something by reading and taking courses and those kinds of things, trying to get more information? The answer is never more information. Now, I'm not saying anything bad about courses or books. Those are amazing resources, but it's just a good thing to
No,
notice.
yeah, I like in my logic my logic says that's true, and like there's this voice saying,
Mm-hmm.
no, but maybe you need to learn that, marketing method, or maybe you need to check out this mm, children development course, or something like that. And like it's like it's
Right.
never enough. And like I
Right.
realize it's never gonna be enough, and I just have to start doing whatever I want to do, right? And also
Yeah.
remembering that I already learned quite enough, like, but
Mm.
yeah, it's like this. It's like a battle between the logic part of me and the emotional part of me, I guess.
Absolutely. I totally get that. Yeah. Okay. So, let's talk about the struggle that you're facing now. So, tell me about that struggle and like how that's going for you.
So I after I felt that things are falling into place in my mind, and I laid it
Hmm.
out on this canvas, and I started even like trying to outline what this kind of course would look like. I started to talk about it a little bit, like online, on
Mm.
Twitter, and there's people out there who like they know me, as they know that I'm a psychologist. Sometimes they maybe consulted with me or ask a question, or I'm sharing. I can share some things that happen with my children as a parent,
Mm.
and they like I got these reactions of like their ears perked up, and it's interesting. We would like to know more about whatever you're creating. You
Okay.
maybe would even like to be part of that. And I started
Okay.
to, okay, so maybe people would like to be part of that. And like, let me know, like DM me if you'd like to know more if I create that. And I know that one way of like validating your course idea when you're trying to create something like that is to gather up a bunch of people, talk with them, and maybe offer some kind of better version for a reduced price. And so in my mind, this is where I am right now, and it scares
Okay.
the shit out of me to actually go out and tell those people, okay, so this is what I want to do, and I would like you to pay me this and this much for that, and let's work together,
Mm.
because that would
Okay.
will make it actual and tangible, and that can be scary, you know.
Absolutely. So, um, you did the canvas, visualization. You started on an outline, started talking about it in public. You got some response. People maybe have been DMing you as well. And now it sounds like where you're stuck is like, that, creating it in collaboration with them, like using them as beta testers, basically, would be a really helpful thing for you in creating it, getting some feedback as you do it. But committing and saying like, I am creating this and you're going to sign up for this
Yeah.
and here's how much it's going to cost. That seems where the fear is stopping you.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Um, so let's see. And in terms of like actually creating it, are you, because of that, are you hoping just like create it on your own in private without sharing it with people as you're creating it, or do you really want to be doing this kind of like beta tester mode, but are just stopped there?
I think I would like to do this better thing,
Mm-hmm.
because I guess that I have good ideas, but I want to run them by other people and see, like, get some validation that they resonate with the way I talk about it, the exercises that I
Mm,
can provide, and that to see that it has some potency, that it can work for them, because
mm,
like I never tested. It's not like a method that I invented. It's not like a new drug that I need to test out, but
right.
there are, it's a bunch of knowledge and I like theory and practice that I want people to understand and to use and see how it works with their own families. And I have done so without calling it the parenting math with my clients in my private practice a little bit. And I
Okay.
see that for some of them things work. And
I see.
so I would like to go through that kind of like group creation. I think that would be nice. I think
So you're already validating it, it sounds like, with your clients.
uh, not per se, or at least that's not my,
Uh-huh.
that's maybe that's like the inner voice now coming up, right?
Right.
Because I never called it, this is my method, the parenting map. Let's do this and this and this, right? With my
Right,
clients. It's
right,
like
right.
with my clients, it was like, okay, so maybe go understand, like, let me tell you a little bit about why your children acted like that in that moment, and maybe you can do this instead. And in my
Right.
mind, I'm thinking maybe about, whatever, right? And I never like package it in the way I would like to package it
I get that.
outside.
But you are validating the ideas, the methods, the principles
Yeah,
through your working with them, just not as like
yeah,
a
kind of a
packaged
little bit. Yeah, yeah,
parenting map.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. Uh, so it sounds like actually the working with people with these ideas is not the part that's scaring you. Like, because you're doing it with your clients, it's here's this thing that I'm created with a name on it and my name right below it. Um, does that feel true? I don't know if I'm
Um,
getting that right.
it's almost, I think,
Okay.
maybe because I never called it uh, the parenting map. Okay, let me teach
Mm-hmm.
you my framework, and
Mm-hmm.
it starts here and goes there. So and also I have to say that working with a person an hour a week with my private clients, an ongoing
Mm-hmm.
week by week sessions, it's different because you have more time to really get to know them and get to the nuances of their families, etc., and tweak
Sure.
as you go along. And that's something that I cannot do on a scale of like an online workshop or a course, right?
Right.
And so maybe for me that's why it feels different validation wise. And maybe
I
also
get that.
that's why I think the thing that scares me the most is like I'm gonna get a bunch of people to get excited about it, to pay me some
Mm-hmm.
money to go
Mm-hmm.
into this experience with me, and then like it's gonna fall flat and won't help them. That's what scares me, and like I'm gonna disappoint them,
Right.
right? And within the
Disappointing
private
people.
practice we have more time to mull things over, and it's different, so I don't feel it's, for me it's not the same yet.
So it sounds like when you have more time with someone and working with them one on one, you're able to do things that prevent you from being a disappointment.
Yeah. More often than
Because if
not,
you're
I
not
guess.
able to do that, what was that?
More often than not, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
most
Yeah.
likely. You have like ways to work with them and like find, make sure that they're not feeling like a huge disappointment. But with people who you're working with who maybe you don't have that kind of time with, maybe they're faceless, maybe there's a bunch of them,
Mm-hmm.
there's just no way for you to actually work that kind of magic,
Yeah.
working one as you do with one on one.
Yeah.
Okay, but the main fear is like it's going to fall flat. It's not going to work. They're not going to be happy. I'll be a disappointment.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. I get that fear. Um, let's see where I want to go with this. Just give me a second here. Okay. There's a couple. I have one line of inquiry. Let's take a look at that. Is that okay?
Yeah.
So that's the fear is it's gonna fall flat and I'll be a disappointment. And what actions or non-actions flow from that fear? So if you believe it's gonna fall flat and I'm a disappointment, and I get this is not your logical, intellectual side of your brain, but it's your fear,
Yeah.
right? So if you believe that, then what actions would you take logically or not take?
I would not take an action of creating content, telling people about
Mm.
it, trying to get customers. I would, continue doing other things maybe that are unrelated to this passion of mine and this dream of mine of
Mm.
creation. So,
Mm.
from
Like
watching
other kind
another
of work.
Netflix episode or working on
Oh,
one of my papers, which is important, but it's a different thing.
sure. Okay, got it. That seems pretty clear. And then, um, is there what results will you get from that set of actions and non-actions?
I may finish a Netflix series. Um,
Nice.
yeah.
You feel accomplished, right? Finished it.
Yeah. Let's go to the other one. No, yeah, but I want the result that I want have is I won't see my business dream coming to life, and I
Mm.
won't realize the um, aspirations I have for my family,
Mm.
and I think that's a crucial part of it, of why I want to do this, because I think it would um, let me both do something that I really believe in and is connected to something that I really think can matter in the outside world, and also can make a really good difference for my own family and my own ability to make sure my kids get to 18.
Yeah. So seeing that, like the way that, so you had the fear or belief, and then we had the actions and non-actions, and then we have a set of results, right? Like got through the Netflix series, but I'm not able to do these things that it sounds like they're really important to you. They're really meaningful. So this will never get realized within this set of actions and
Yeah.
non-actions. Like what how does that make you feel afterward after that's happened? If we like play this out as a a sequence of events. So this is the results you're getting. Like, what do you feel from that?
I think I feel awesome when that happens.
Hmm.
Like in the future where I do the thing, right?
Oh, I'm sorry. In
Oh,
this cycle, we have you not doing the
okay,
thing,
okay,
right?
okay,
And
okay.
yeah, so this doesn't
Okay, so I
happen.
went to that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, the opposite of that. I feel,
Which is what?
yeah, I just had the image of like a deflated balloon in my mind. So
Hmm.
it feels like deflated, and um like there's this voice of harsh judgment and look at
Hmm.
you, you're not doing anything worthwhile, You wanted to do this, you wanted to do that, it's too late now. You fail yourself. It's a really harsh voice, and makes me feel like shit.
Yeah. Got it. And does that voice and the way that you're feeling like shit, does that reinforce any fear or belief about yourself?
I think it reinforces the belief that I don't follow through. That I can have this like there's this belief that says you have major ideas and dreams and plans, and you just can't follow through. And so that would reinforce that belief, which I somewhere know that it's not entirely true, but that would like give more.
But that it can feel true,
yeah,
at times. I'm sure, right? Especially at this time.
Yeah.
What I'm noticing is it might actually reinforce the original belief or fear. We can call it either one. That you are a disappointment. Do you know what I mean? Where we started this? I'll paint it out. Since you're a visual learner, and actually, I imagine there's a lot of others too, right? Imagine there's this circle. At the top of the circle, we had a belief or a fear, right? Which is like, this course is going to fall flat, and I am going to be a disappointment. And so from that belief or fear, we have actions. So we go down this side of the circle, and on this side of the circle, there was, I'm going to watch Netflix, do anything other than work on this really meaningful thing. And then the results would be on this side of the circle, and it would be, I'll finish the Netflix series, but I'm not going to do this really meaningful thing to me, this thing that I really care about, and achieve stuff for my family that really matters to me. And then after that, there's like a way that you feel. And there's like, we heard a really harsh voice, and says you never finish anything, and a bunch of other things, and they reinforce an idea. One of them is a belief that you never finish things, right? Never get things done, except for Netflix series. But there's the other one that I'm pointing to, which is the original one, which is I'm a disappointment. That was a fear, but it's also, in some ways, it's your fear is belief. I fear I'm a disappointment, and if I put this out there, it will actually get proven.
Yeah.
What are you hearing as I like lay all of that out?
I'm hearing like the existence of this core belief that I might be not good enough, and that would be a disappointment to myself, and maybe others who rely on me, or who had believed in me and trusted me, etc. And it's just an icky feeling. I don't have other words to describe that. It feels like crap to be on that side of the guy who disappoints, who doesn't follow through for other people who need like people who need me, who rely on me.
I hear you. Yeah, and for anyone listening or watching, what I really want to highlight, this whole cycle, this is not a bad thing about Eran, right? This is what we all have. We all have some kind of thing like this. We have some kind of belief or fear that was probably given to us as a beautiful gift by someone when we were younger, right? Maybe a teacher, could be a parent. Not to pick on parents, obviously parents are doing their best. And always well-intentioned, but sometimes we hand our kids these kinds of beliefs. But it could be society, right? And so something that made you feel inadequate. And I imagine people listening or watching, there's going to be a lot of them with this kind of cycle. So we have this belief, and then from that, something logical flows out of it. If I believe I'm a disappointment, or that I will be if I put this out there, why would I work on the course? That's terrible. Like, it doesn't make any sense. So logically, I'm going to watch Netflix or do anything other than that. And then from that, a set of results will obviously flow. Like it's just logical that if I'm not working on the thing, I'm not going to achieve the thing that I really care about. And there's a lot of that stuff from that. And then we have some kind of reaction to that, a feeling from it or a voice. And this is how it works for everybody. And it is an invisible system for most of us. It doesn't matter if you're a psychologist or a coach or the best expert at this. You can't see your own version of it because it's like the water that we swim in.
Yeah.
It's like a goldfish in a goldfish bowl doesn't know that they're in a goldfish bowl. It's just like that's the world, right?
Yeah.
And we can't see it. And so it really helps to get into a conversation like this where someone can help you to kind of walk through that and distinguish it for you. And the point of distinguishing it is not to make anyone feel bad about the fact that we have this. It's to allow you to bring awareness to it when it's happening. And so, from now on, if you're like, oh, I'm watching Netflix and I'm not working on the course, you'll like, oh, this is from my fear. I can see it happening right now. It doesn't mean you need to stop watching Netflix. It just means now you're aware of that's what's happening.
Yeah.
And you know how what's gonna result in that.
Yeah.
And
it's funny because I always tell my clients that awareness is the key. This is where we have to start from.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah. You're doing good work out there. Bringing that kind of awareness. It's hard to see what we can't see. And so it really helps. Even if we can see it for others, I can see it for others. I can't see my own stuff, which is why I have a coach. So I really appreciate you being willing to like model that. Okay. So, so this is kind of how the system is. And within the system, like really nothing else is possible. And so one thing that I really want to encourage you to do here in this moment is to think like, what's an experience of all of this that I would like that isn't contained by the system, isn't even about the system? And so like, is there something you would like as you create in collaboration with these beta testers that would be like impossible from the system, but also isn't at all a fix for the system?
I don't know, because like my mind went to, okay, so I want to work with these people, these parents who are seeking help, who think that I can help them, and I want to succeed in helping them. And thus I have to create the parenting map. I have to create this content. I have to reach out to people and work with them. And knowing that for some of them it could work, for some of them it might not work as well, because people are different and their families are different. But it is tied to the thing itself, I'm not sure.
So looking at that, I want to work with all of these people. Sometimes it's going to work and not work. But how would you like to experience that? Like, what would be amazing as you create and share with these people?
The moment when, after, like, so if it's a course and it's like, I'm going to work with them on a weekly basis, like, teaching some stuff, giving some exercise and helping them throughout the week or in some way, and with some kind of Q&A or something. So I'm thinking about the moment after 1, 2, 3 weeks after the beginning, when someone goes on the Zoom session with everybody and tells them, I got to tell you about that time this week where I did that and it worked and something changed for us, for me and my child. That's the moment I would like to see.
I see. So there's like this moment of like, there's some change or shift that's happened that's really like meaningful to this person.
Yeah.
I totally get that. So I'm still looking for your like internal experience. It might be helpful. I'm going to try a different approach. Would that be okay? Okay, let's forget about this course creation for a minute. We'll come back to it. What's an experience of life that you have where you feel really alive? It could be something that happened 5 years ago. It could be something you do on weekends. It doesn't matter.
Mm, so I think about playing, like goofing around with my kids.
Mm,
That's the first thing that came up for me when we are just like, really like, but really goofing around, like playing this
mm,
unstructured game, and
mm,
we're in it together, and it's really silly, and everybody's laughing.
mm.
That's one thing.
Love
and
that.
and I also, so I'm thinking about a specific place that I we've been to as a family in the summer, and
Mm,
it's in Italy. It's really beautiful, and I'm thinking about like these moments where I'm just sitting there with this amazing view, and the sun is setting, and I don't know why, because I'm not doing anything, yeah, but
mm,
it it it's really feeling it, as you said, feels, you really feel alive because you're in there.
mm,
It's so quiet and beautiful, and you kind of feel connected to the place, and that's
mm.
um, it fills you up with something. So that's the other thing intuitively that came up to me as I
Yeah.
thought about it.
So beautiful. Thanks for sharing that with us. So speaking to the audience right now, to people listening and watching, um, what I was inviting Eran to do is to um, connect to some inner experiences that he has uh, that are really like him in his essence. So playing with his kids, I really get like goofing around and unstructured. There's a sense of like childlike play, and I get that when you are at your most natural essence, that is actually a big part of who you are is play, just this unstructured play, right? Um, and as adults, we're often we structure our lives out of play, right?
Mhm.
But you still let yourself connect to that with your kids, and that's a beautiful thing. One wonderful thing about being a parent is sometimes kids give us permission to play, where we would not have that otherwise. Um, and then the other experience you shared was this place of, it sounds like beauty and family and nature and maybe a sense of peace.
Mhm.
But what I was really getting is a sense of connection, a connection with everything around you, like an interconnection. And so these are two big parts of who you are at your essence, like probably who you were when you were 5 years old.
Mm.
And we shut down that essence because we feel like we have to out of fear, but that's who you are. And I bet people who love you the most can, like, they've connected with your that essence of play and peace and connection a lot. And not necessarily when you're in your fear and reactivity, but when you can just be who you are at your deepest essence, that's what they can feel. So do any of those feel like it would be amazing to bring to the creation of this course with others who are receiving it?
Yeah, I'm not sure how to do that, but
Mm-hmm.
I've been told many times that I like induce some kind of peacefulness. I'm
Ah.
usually a mellow, almost passive kind of guy, so people
Mm.
um, feel comfortable around me. That's
Okay.
really important part of my job. People need to feel being that they're able to trust me, and
Mm.
I so and I'm thinking about, I want to help parents who are really struggling with their day-to-day lives and feeling shitty about themselves and stuff like that.
Right.
And peacefulness is something that they really seek. So if I can, lend
Uh,
something from myself to that, that would be great. And I also think
mm.
that may be the harder part for me, but I think that I resonate with the playfulness of it all, of,
Mm.
helping. And again, that's okay. So I would like to help people connect to their own playfulness and,
Uh,
test things out, and, don't take yourself so, I do believe that parenting is the most important job in the world, but,
mm.
don't take yourself too seriously doing that, because then you just,
Ah,
you headbutt into rigidness. So that's unhelpful. But
I see.
I'm thinking about my journey as someone who's trying to create something. How can I implement more playfulness into this work?
It's a great question.
Yeah.
Any ideas come up for you as you think about that? How it sounds
um,
like you would like to have more playfulness in the creation.
I don't know.
Um,
Um,
yeah.
I think like, um, I guess I about finding somehow to feel, because what is playfulness if not, you throw things around and you don't really care about the outcome in a safe
Mhm.
way. You allow
Sure.
you allow yourself to goof around, you allow yourself to look
Mhm.
silly, you allow yourself to, act out, voices and characters, etc. So if I were able to get into a little bit more playfulness mode when I'm creating this thing, when I'm talking with my prospective clients about it, when I'm teaching, when I'm
Mhm.
offering some kind of coaching to a parent, maybe then I won't be so scared that, I have to get it just right, and or else, all hell will break loose. So yeah, that's maybe the kind of
I love
maybe
that.
the antidote to that in a way.
That's amazing. Okay, so we're running low on time. Do you have a hard stop
No,
at the end of this?
I'm okay. Yeah.
Okay, have a few minutes extra. So I'd like to just say a few things to try and like bring us to the close here. But what you were just sharing is just such a beautiful possibility for you. This is who you are at your essence, is play, and like I said, peace and connection. Um, and those would all be amazing things to bring to the parents, but also for yourself as you like create. And so, what the one that you're really connecting with right now is play, and I think that's amazing. So, what I really want to encourage you to do is to, first of all, notice when you're in the old pattern, the old context is the way that I've been taught to call it.
Mhm.
So, it's the belief it's gonna fall flat, I'm gonna be a disappointment. All the actions that flow from that, the results, and then the self-talk and the reinforcement of that belief that you never get anything done or never finish anything and basically are a disappointment. So just notice all of that with a degree of, reverence. It's like, whoa, look at what I've created to protect myself. And it doesn't work. It actually ends up feeling more of a disappointment because I want to avoid being a disappointment, but actually I feel more of one afterward.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that we don't still try it. We still hope that it's going to work. And so just be in the noticing of it. And I'm not actually working on the thing. Oh, there must be that fear there.
Yeah.
And the self-talk is coming soon. So the noticing would be the first thing, and bringing some like reverence, some a sense of love actually to yourself as you're going through that. It's really hard to break out of our old patterns, especially if you've been using this for many years. Um, but the antidote, as you said, would be to say, I want play. When I create this, I want play. I want to be able to be goofy and not and need it to get it right
Mhm.
and need it to be perfect. Maybe I can bring a sense of goofy playfulness to these parents as I create with them, um, and and be a permission for them to play as adults. And like, what a gift that would be. And
Yeah.
maybe even talk about play.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and maybe they get to bring that to their own selves, their own emotions as they come up. Could there be play with emotion? And definitely with their kids who who are often being trained not to play, right?
Yeah.
So So just a lot of times what I'll do is I'll take a post-it note and I'll write the word, like the word play, and post it on my computer. Maybe write another one, post it on my bathroom mirror, put it as a lock screen on my phone. Whatever I need to do so that
Remind
I can
myself.
practice play. Yeah, yeah. Um, And then what you're going to notice is you're going to be like, okay, I'm going to play. And then there's going to be, oh, I need to do it right.
Mm-hmm.
I need to like try and get it perfect. And that's falling back into the old thing of worrying about being a disappointment. And you notice that play is bigger than the fear of disappointment. Play is just like disappointment, it keeps us in this one small space. It's like around and around in the circle. But play doesn't care about being a disappointment. Play is unconcerned with that. And it contains way more possibility than disappointment. And so if you start to be like, you know what, I'm not going to even worry about being a disappointment. Sure, maybe I'll be a disappointment. Then I get to like play
Mm-hmm.
with disappointment, right? And maybe a parent will not get use out of this. Maybe I can bring play to that. And so there's like no limit to play. So it would be just
Yeah.
bring play to all of it, including the part that you're really worried is going to happen.
Yeah.
So if they're like, that sucked. I paid X number of dollars for that, and it's, I didn't get anything out of it. And it's like, okay, great. Let me bring play to that, to my own emotion of disappointment, to bring play to them. And like, maybe there's a way to play with that. Maybe I can bring that in and include it in what I'm creating, whatever made them not get something out of it. And that's actually a really good learning to play with.
Yeah.
Yeah. How's all of this landing?
Landing smoothly and right on the spot. I
Okay.
really like the thing about figuring it out and thinking about the essence of play and peacefulness. It really resonates with me, and especially like the playfulness of it all is not exactly my comfort zone, but it is something that I feel it's the essence of it, but acting it and
Yeah.
doing it, it's not exactly in my comfort zone, but not so far
Sure.
away. So I think that's the bridge that I will need to walk on. And I really like how
Okay.
it can be this kind of, fear can be here and playfulness can be here. And I can, move through the fear, around the fear, with the fear, using that. So that's something
I love
that
that.
I think that's something that I can work with, which is awesome.
Amazing. Amazing. I hope you'll put this into practice and then share with me like how it's going. Give me an update every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
I would love that.
Yeah.
That's all the time we have. I really want to thank you, Eran, for coming forward and being vulnerable and just sharing like the struggles that you're having. But I also really want to acknowledge you for being willing to like open to play. What a beautiful possibility for you as a creator, but also for these parents to see some adult being goofy and playing and like not caring so much about how the results, but like being willing to like bring that play to them. Such an incredible possibility for them.
Yeah.
And I really get that this is going to serve like whatever you create and the way that you're being as you create it will serve many parents. The more that you create, the more you're going to be serving them. And this is an important thing that you're doing in the world. Like parents need this and kids need it as well. And so I'm so glad that you're willing to step out of your comfort zone into the unknown, work with the fears that are naturally coming up for you, and bring some more play to your life and to the world. Really beautiful, man.
Thank you for sharing this podcast that you're creating, and inviting people to work on something during the season, not just to listen. I really, I did that, and then inviting people for these kind of discussions is really helpful. And for me, I think I wrote it in the email I sent you. My go-to would not to do that. So that's kind of playing
That's
what we're doing
right.
right now for me. And I'm really glad that I did it. And I really thank you for creating these kind of opportunities.
That's so good. I'm really glad that you acknowledged that. This is you going outside of your comfort zone, outside of what you would normally do. And that's what's required for this kind of work, is to be able to step outside of that. I want to encourage anybody who's listening or watching, email me, podcast@zenhabits.net, as Eran did. And I might not have space to interview or to coach every single person who emails me, but I do read every email. And I would actually love to do more of these. So I'm really glad to have brave, courageous people stepping outside of their comfort zone and willing to get on a call with me. Thank you again. I again will share links to your website and the resources that you've mentioned. But I really believe you're doing meaningful work, and I'm so glad we got to have this conversation.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye, everybody.